Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 131 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan walked over slowly and came to Xuanmin Linghu's side. As the distance got closer, Xiao Yan realized that this swift and agile fox's fur was extremely soft, as if it had some other magic power. Go to hell, human beings. Just when Xiao Yang was 3 meters away from the swift and sensitive fox, the swift and sensitive fox whose breath was dying suddenly burst out, and then an extremely dazzling power burst out instantly, attacking Xiao directly. Inflammation. Humph. As the white smoke of the agile fox disappeared, Xiao Yang's fighting spirit was recovering, and he was naturally not afraid of the attack of the agile fox. It is not attacking itself. It's over. The Yihuaheng ancient ruler in Xiao Yang's hand slashed down at the swift and sensitive fox. The next moment, the swift and sensitive fox was completely lost. But even if he died, the swift and sensitive fox still couldn't figure out why this human being had such a powerful power. It's just that this swift and agile fox doesn't know that Xiao Yang now not only has some soul power to defend himself, but also that holy flame is slowly changing Xiao Yang's body, so even if it is as powerful as a swift and agile fox, it can't do anything to Xiao Yang. Any harm? Really a careful boy. Xinyan smiled slowly, and then said. Naturally, Xiao Yang had discovered the conspiracy of this swift and agile fox long ago by virtue of his soul power. Where's the magic core? Xiao Yang saw that the swift and sensitive fox had completely fallen, and immediately approached slowly, and found that there was not a trace of blood flowing from the body of the swift and sensitive fox, or even the existence of the magic core. No, this swift and sensitive fox was bleeding just now. Why isn't there any trace of blood now? And there is no magic core. Xiao Yang suddenly said in surprise. This situation is obviously unreasonable. As far as I know, although this is a special space, the deceased beasts transformed by those fallen powerhouses do possess demon cores. How could they appear like this? Don't worry, look at the center of that swift and agile fox's mind. Xinyan said slightly. Empty. Xiao Yang gently opened it with the ancient eternal fire ruler, only to find that the center of the mind of this swift and agile fox that originally stored the magic core was empty. What's the situation? Seeing this, Xinyan immediately pondered slightly. Obviously, even Xinyan was not very clear about this situation. Why do I feel that this magic core has been taken away? Xiao Yang's eyes slowly stared at the emptiness of the center of the swift and sensitive fox's mind, and he immediately felt it. It was taken away. Xinyan heard this and immediately admired Xiao Yang's bold guess. I found out from the beginning that although this swift and agile fox is quite powerful, I always feel that something is missing. Now it should be confirmed that it is the lack of a magic core. Xiao Yang said calmly. Although I don't know why, my intuition tells me that the magic core that disappeared inexplicably is probably related to the Luoling mountain. Xiao Yang slowly stared at the 3 huge mountain ranges above the flat ground of Luoling mountain. First, let's look for a few dead beasts here. If it is still like this quick and agile fox, I am afraid it is the same as what I guessed. Xiao Yang said to himself. After speaking, there was a bright flame on the tip of his finger. Emerged, and then walked away towards the body of the swift and sensitive fox in front of him. Since this swift and agile fox has no blood essence and magic core, there is no need to leave it behind. But I have forgotten a question. If this swift and agile fox does not have blood, is the blood during the battle just a trick? Xiao Yang said slowly, and then put on his back the ancient ruler of eternal fire. Go not far away. Another place, where Mu Yingying and the others were. Someone's here. Mu Yingying kept her eyes closed and rested, but she was the first to speak. What's so amazing? Ling Xian, who was beside her, curled her lips slightly when she heard the words. Be careful, this team is a bit strong. Mu Yingying's voice contained a hint of heaviness. Obviously this team made her feel a hint of danger. Oh, it's really bad luck. I don't know how the team competition this time came to this Luoling mountain. The 3 kings in Luoling mountain are not easy to mess with, and the mission this time is actually to fight the 5 elements beasts. These 5 element beasts are not so easy to deal with. Unless you have the attributes of the 5 elements, if you deal with them alone, these 5 elements beasts are known to be invincible. I really don't know why the palace master sent us here. It was a man dressed in blue who spoke. The man was relaxed, and cursed in his mouth. Okay, Xiao Yang, don't complain. Now we have got 2 wooden cards. If we get one, we have the qualification to enter. When the time comes, let's see which other 2 teams will be. The popular leader of the team said proudly. Captain, you are still smart. The man known as Xiao Yan smiled slightly when he heard this, and then walked through the grass where Mu Yingying was hiding. RBU just walked into the bushes where Mu Yingying and the others were hiding, coughed suddenly, and then winked at their captain, not knowing what he was doing. Let's go, let's find a place first, and let the other teams fight and come out. After the captain finished speaking, his speed skyrocketed and he disappeared here. Xiao Yan glanced at the captain, and then at the strange grass beside him. A hint of doubt flickered in his eyes, but he didn't stop and left here. I'm afraid there is something wrong with these people. Although Mu Yingying saw a few people leave, she was not relieved. Because the one who led the team just now was even more terrifying than Xiao Yang. If it is more terrifying than Xiao Yang, then Xiao Yang is already in the late stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. I am afraid that this captain's strength has already reached the 6-star Do Emperor consummation. No, I think our whereabouts have been exposed, so let's get out of here first. Mu Yingying got up slightly and said to a few people around her. What about Xiao Yang? If we leave like this, I'm afraid Xiao Yang won't be able to find us. Mu Feng said slightly. It's alright, I'll leave him some news. When he sees us, he'll naturally know. After Mu Yingying finished speaking, a tiny azure flame flowed out from the tip of her hand and then hid in a dark place. Let's go. After doing all this, Mu Yingying didn't hesitate, and immediately set off to move. What are you running? What a weird woman. Ling Xian said with a slight dissatisfaction, but she still followed. Hey, aren't these guys the ones who formed the team between the human temple and our earth temple? A group of people who had just disappeared appeared, and then Xiao Yang smiled slowly. For people, the average strength is 2 in the late 5-star Do Emperor, 1 in the early stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, and Ling Xian in the middle of the 6-star Do Emperor. One of the people in the team who was in charge of the investigation spoke slowly. Forget it, I don't think the wooden sign is on them. Let them dance around for a while. Since that woman has left a message for Xiao Yang, let's wait for him here. I would like to see who is the one who killed the twin ghost emperors. After the leader of the team finished speaking, he smiled slowly, but his smile contained extremely arrogant arrogance. When the Funxiang Pavilion was in full swing, some secret forces in the distance were also eager to move. Xianling City outside the Xianling royal family. In the huge auction hall of Xianling City, inside a beautiful house, the house is full of gold and silver jewelry, which looks quite luxurious. At this time, a Qianying was slowly lying on the bed, and then the space within a few meters of the bed was squirming slightly, and a group of black chi was born in an instant. Isn't this a dark crow? It's really been a long time. A sweet voice sounded slowly, and then on the bed, a woman with a seductive radiance smiled. Taking a closer look, isn't this the Blood Rose who controlled the Xianling royal family and even the auction in Xianling City? Hehe, Blood Rose, it seems that you are getting more nourished. The man known as the Dark Crow snorted slowly, his body was wrapped in black robes, and a bewitching crow stood on his shoulders. Hehe, I didn't use that opportunity at the beginning, so I can't blame it. Xue Qiangwei was still lying on the bed and said lazily, the looming white skin and some mysterious places were quite tempting. Lord Gravedigger, let me tell you that the plan must be carried out in advance. Dark Crow naturally wouldn't be disturbed by Blood Rose, so he opened his mouth slightly. Humph. Grave-digging ghost immortal, don't be a bad thing, after all, you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. Blood Rose sneered. According to his instructions, the Funxiang Pavilion is now conducting a competition in the sect. The location is at Luoling Mountain. I have already sent someone to go there. Dark Crow said slightly. What? Hearing the words, Blood Rose stood up suddenly, her brows furrowed, and she was extremely angry with the Dark Crow. Grave digging. A loud shout came out of his mouth. Damn it, you will only wipe out our entire army. We have been preparing for hundreds of years, no matter how much hatred, shouldn't we wait? Blood Rose's pupils were stained with a trace of blood, and ghosts emerged from her body, and she said angrily to the Dark Crow. I'm just following orders. Facing the powerful pressure of Blood Rose, the crow on the shoulder of the Dark Crow suddenly made a strange sound. No, take your people back immediately. At this juncture, nothing can happen. Blood Rose knew that her and Dark Raven's strengths were almost the same. After all, the two were one of the 9 ghost emperors in the ghost world, so she had to say solemnly. No way, I'm afraid he has already entered Luoling Mountain. Dark Crow said without any change in his face. Humph. Don't think I don't know what you are thinking. The twin ghost emperors are his own fault, and the ghost emperor's heart is not on that human being. Back then, there were some mysterious powerhouses in the Yin Corpse forest, so I'm afraid that the ghost emperor's heart has already been taken away by others. Xue Qiangwei naturally knew the mind of this tomb-digging ghost immortal. This is just one of them. I don't know the intention of Lord Guizian. I was ordered to do things before. This time, I'm just here to tell you. Dark Crow said gloomily. I know, I will bypass you this time. If there is another unauthorized act like this, I am afraid that the other two Guizian adults will not bypass you. Xue Qiangwei bit her heart and spoke slightly. Everyone is in charge of their own. After the Dark Crow finished speaking, he didn't bother to stay here any longer, and then slowly turned into countless crows and dissipated in the house. With the disappearance of the Dark Crow, the anger suppressed by the Blood Rose suddenly burst out, and spooky ghosts continued to emit, and he kept saying, "Damn gravedigger ghost, what are you doing?" Blood Rose naturally knew the grievances between the Tomb Digger Ghost Immortal and Burning Incense Pavilion, but this Tomb Digger Ghost Immortal acted very low-key, so Blood Rose would definitely not believe that the Tomb Digger Ghost Immortal fought against the Burning Incense Pavilion for her own personal grievances. Someone. After a short thought, there was no result, and then the Blood Rose slowly drank. Master Ghost Emperor, what's the matter? Blood Rose's voice just fell, and a ghost guard of the ghost world appeared instantly outside the door. There are dozens of ghost guards under Xue Qiangwei. The strength of these ghost guards is all trained by Xue Qiangwei, and they are the most trusted subordinates of Xue Qiangwei. Find me what the grave digger ghost is doing recently, and let's see if the Dark Crows and the others have found a new entrance to the mysterious 3 days in addition to the current 3 passages. Blood Rose said coldly. Yes. The ghost guard heard the words, respectfully, and then slowly stepped back, and then did not disturb the Blood Rose. Damn bastard. What the are you trying to do? Blood Rose still felt that something was wrong. The Tomb Digger Ghost Immortal and the other 2 Ghost Immortals have their own Ghost Emperors, and the Ghost Immortals followed by their Ghost Emperors are different. The Dark Crow is loyal to follow the Tomb Digger Ghost. As for why the Dark Crow does not betray, the Blood Rose is unknown. Anyway, the Blood Rose of the Tomb Digger Ghost knows that only the Dark Crow is a ghost. As for the Ghost Immortals that Blood Rose stood on, there were 2 Ghost Immortals. As for the last one, Blood Rose doesn't know. It seems that this Blood Rose entered Xian Santian hundreds of years ago, and it has already been very good. In Xianling City, the shadow of the Dark Crow slowly appeared, watching the huge Blood Rose controlled by the Blood Rose. In the auction house, I can't help but think slightly I don't know when I will be able to live such a life. Although the ghost world is good, but it is dark all day long, where will there be prosperity in the world? If the tomb-digging Lord Guizian succeeds this time, it can be regarded as a repayment of the kindness I gave to me at the beginning. I can also leave the ghost world with peace of mind and find a holy place on earth to take care of my life. The Dark Crow's bitter melon face suddenly had a hint of it. Silk smile. At this moment, outside the distant Burning Incense Pavilion, a man in black robe, surrounded by black aura, slowly took off his black robe, and then showed a very hideous smile. Xiao Yan. This time, you made it easier for me to find it. After the figure surrounded by ghosts finished speaking, he stroked the void in front of him, and suddenly a scroll appeared in his hand and threw it in suddenly. Shabu. The next moment, the void in front of the man suddenly shook, and then turned into a vortex, which seemed to lead to a space channel somewhere. Fortunately, there is a space teleportation scroll that the Dark Crow gave me, otherwise I might not be able to find the coordinates of Luoling Mountain. Xiao Yang, Ghost Emperor Xin, I'm here. After the man finished speaking, he jumped into it and disappeared. Just when this man appeared not far from the Funxiang Pavilion, the Fen Tianyu above the sky immediately became restless, as if it were automatically defending. What's wrong? Seeing this, some disciples in Funxiang Pavilion who had not participated in the team competition, all looked at Fen Tianyu's changes in confusion. It's all right, everyone, let's go and get busy. One of the disciples said slowly, and then those surprised disciples heard the words, all did not hesitate, and went to work on their own. It's really not peaceful recently. It seems that I have to report it to the elders. After the disciple finished speaking, he disappeared immediately, obviously looking for someone. There are many towering trees on the open ground of Luoling Mountain, so you don't have to worry about being discovered by others. At this time, above a tree, a man with a heavy ruler on his back was walking fast and fast. As for its feet, there is a blue fire cow with 2 horns, and a trace of yellow flame burning on the 2 horns is dying. Strange, the dead beasts here clearly have some blood, but why? Xiao Yang had obviously seriously injured the Qinghuanyo and kept following the Qinghuanyo. After following the Qinghuanyo, Xiao Yang found that although the Qinghuanyo was seriously injured by himself, the blood flowing from the wound lasted for only a few minutes and then no blood flowed out. Then the blood stopped flowing, and the Qinghuanyo fell down with a plop. Seeing the Qinghuanyo falling, Xiao Yang hurried to his side, still using the familiar method to check whether the Qinghuanyo had a magic nucleus. This is already the 10th head, why is there still no magic core? Xiao Yang shook his head and asked in confusion. It seems that there are some secrets in this Luoling mountain, and I can feel it. The secrets in this Luoling mountain seem to be related to the mountains where the 3 kings of Luoling mountain live. Xinyan has been talking about these few days. Time seemed to notice something. But even if these dead beasts don't have magic cores, why are the blood power in their bodies so thin? I can control the strength well, it is impossible for me to cause these dead beasts to bleed too much to death. Xiao Yang murmured. Xiao Yang was looking at the body of Qinghuanyo, but he still found nothing. Alas, it's really bad luck, how come the dead beasts in Luoling Mountain all look the same? Could it be that the power of blood in the body of the dead beast here is only 1/10, so where did the rest of the blood and magic core go? Xiao Yang stepped on the Qinghuanyo and said slightly. In the past few days, Xiao Yang killed a lot of dead beasts. Among these dead beasts, the strongest one had the level of the late 6-star fighting emperor, but to Xiao Yang it was like a drop in the bucket. However, after Xiao Yang killed several times in a row, he also discovered the secret of this dead beast. There is indeed some blood in the bodies of these dead beasts, but the blood level is extremely rare. If the blood in a normal beast is compared to 100, I am afraid that this dead beast only has 10 in its body. Moreover, none of the beasts in this dead beast has the existence of a demon core. It is true that normal monsters do not have magic cores at some probability, but for monsters above Do-D, except for very special circumstances, all monsters have magic cores. Forget it, let's go back first. After finding a wooden sign, it is possible to enter the territory of the 5 elements beasts. At that time, we will have to do whatever it takes to get the bodies of these 5 elements beasts. This is the last ingredient to resurrect Xiao Shen's ancestors. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he suddenly felt that the breath belonging to Xiao Shen's ancestor in Dao's body trembled slightly. Let's go, I'll have a good time to leave. If something happens to Mu Yingying and the others, with their strength, I'm afraid they won't be able to get a good deal. Xiao Yang directly burned the dead beast under his feet, and then slowly moved towards return the same way. Xiao Yang's speed was extremely fast, and within a few hours, he returned to the place where he and Mu Yingying and the others were separated. Where's the people? Xiao Yang came here, and with the strength of his soul, he could indeed confirm that there were remnants of Mu Yingying's breath here, but he didn't see anyone. He glanced at his eyes slightly, and found that there was no figure, and immediately frowned. Because with his keen perception, Xiao Yang seemed to find that not only the breath of Mu Yingying and the others, but also the breath of others, although weak, was still captured by Xiao Yang. Flame. At the next moment, a tiny blue flame suddenly burst out from the huge bushes in front of Xiao Yang. Come here. Xiao Yang said softly, and then the powerful suction force absorbed the power of the blue flame. I see. Did they find other powerful enemies? Let me be careful. Xiao Yang said to himself after feeling the news on the blue flame. Hehe, I thought the guy who was rumored to be in the Hall of Humanity was holy. It turned out to be a young boy. Just when Xiao Yang was about to leave, 5 terrifying figures suddenly surged around the bushes. Out. Among the 5 people, 4 men and 1 woman slowly surrounded Xiao Yang. As for the woman, she slowly stared at Xiao Yang, trying to control Xiao Yang's whereabout. It's really a big battle. Xiao Yang's head was a little hot. The 5 people in front of him were far from the strength of the Rainbow Team before. Before the Rainbow Team was the most powerful, only the Captain Fengling had reached the peak of the middle stage of the 6-star Do-D, but at this time, the strength of Xiao Yang's team in front of him was undoubtedly a lot higher than that of the Rainbow Team. I don't know how many. Xiao Yang just opened his mouth when he was interrupted by one of the 5. Don't talk nonsense, hand over the wooden sign on your body, and then get out of Luoling Mountain. A burly man who knew at a glance that he was a powerful man said sternly. Wood card. Xiao Yang shrugged indifferently, then slowly fixed his eyes on the middle of the 5 people. I don't know why, with Xiao Yang's keen perception and his own strength in the late stage of the 6-star Do-D, I actually felt an extremely tyrannical pressure from this figure. Captain, this kid. Seeing this, the burly man couldn't help but feel unhappy, and immediately said to the man in the middle of the team. The person who killed the twin ghost emperors is indeed a bit arrogant. But under the suppression of absolute strength, I believe that this kind of arrogance will be destroyed. The captain of the Dawning Team spoke slowly. We are the Dawning Team, my name is Guanglu, she is my fiancée Anli, that is Tan Xiaoyang, this is Chen Zhong, As for the person who just told you, it is Qiao. Xiao Yang, although the people in the burning incense pavilion have heard all kinds of things about you, we won't let it go. I also want to see how powerful you are who killed the twin ghost emperors. Let's go together. Guanglu is naturally a discerning person. At first, he really did not believe that Xiao Yang killed the twin ghost emperors, but with the news that their palace masters told Guanglu, let Guanglu know that Xiao Yang is absolutely extraordinary. People, so I don't dare to take it lightly. Damn, 5 fights won. Do you still have any sense of shame? Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help sinking, and then the dazzling fighting spirit slowly blended out, and he was always vigilant against the Dawning team. In this Dawning team, it is quite difficult for Xiao Yang to deal with the captain Guanglu alone, not to mention the other 4 teammates. Besides, in this Dawning team, the strength of the other 4 teammates is not trivial. Just after thinking about it, the Dawn team launched an extremely fierce attack. Do it. As soon as Guanglu's voice fell, the other 4 members of the Dawning team moved in an orderly manner. The orientation of the 5 people presents a 5-point star, and Xiao Yang is surrounded by it. Drink. Xiao Yang snorted softly. Although he appeared calm on the surface, he was vigilant in his heart. Obviously, the 5 members of the Dawning team, whether it was the captain Guanglu alone or the entire team combined, were extremely terrifying. Xiao Yang, even if you have the ability to reach the sky this time, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape. The burly figure in the Dawning team suddenly spoke, and his voice was full of danger. 5. They are really thorny. But the next moment, Xiao Yang's pupils slowly emitted a fiery wave. If that's the case, let's fight. Xiao Yang's whole body instantly burst into flames, and then he clenched the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand tightly, and a terrifying aura of fighting the heavens and the earth permeated. Since coming out of the desert mountain range, Xiao Yang has not fought with all his strength. This time facing a whole team, Xiao Yang is also not afraid. Sure enough, it is the 6-star Do Emperor. The burly Qianzhong next to him said, even if he already knew that Xiao Yang was the strongest in the Hall of People, his strength might have reached the 6-star Do Emperor, but he was still a little surprised when he saw it with his own eyes. What is the strength of the 6-star Do Emperor in the late stage? This kid's growth rate is too terrifying. I remember when he joined the human palace, his strength was only a 4-star Do Emperor. In the past 5 years, he has not been in the Funxiang Pavilion. The strength has improved so much. I'm afraid this is the idea of the Deputy Hall Master of the Human Palace. The captain of the Dawning team saw Xiao Yang's terrifying fighting spirit fluctuations, and immediately discovered Xiao Yang's exact strength. Because there is no deliberate suppression by Ihua Henguchi and Xiao Yang, there is no doubt that the time in the later stage of 6-star Do D will unfold. How much power is this? Another Qianqiu said. Qianqiu and Qianzhong are 2 brothers, but his elder brother Qianzhong is burly and Qianqiu is relatively thin. However, the strength of the 2 of them has reached the level of the middle stage of the 6-star Do D, and even the strength of life is as high as the 5th rank. Yep. This is not the power of life. At the next moment, Anli, the woman beside Guanglu, directly pulled Guanglu's wrist, suppressing Guanglu's surprise. Guanglu just came back to his senses, and suddenly discovered the abnormality on Xiao Yang's body. Stop talking nonsense, take out the wooden sign, don't suffer from the pain of flesh and blood. How could Qianzhong want to talk nonsense with Xiao Yang? His body shook, his front feet lifted, and he suddenly stepped on the ground. Boom boom boom. Qianzhong's step is incredible. After all, Qianzhong's strength has reached the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. In addition, Qianzhong is a power type, so this foot suddenly opened a crack of dozens of meters. Shooting towards Xiao Yang. Retreat. Guanglu hurriedly shouted when he saw this, but he didn't rush to stop Qianzhong's shot, because Guanglu's strength had reached the level of a 6-star Do Emperor consummation. Guanglu wanted to see Xiao Yang's strength, and it was a decision value. Not worth doing it yourself. The other 4 members of the Dawning team saw Qianzhong launched an attack, and immediately retreated to the side. Captain, didn't you mean to go together? Qianqiu just flashed out of the battle circle, and suddenly said, Qianqiu couldn't think of what medicine this captain sold in the gourd. This Xiao Yang seems to have some other secrets. Look, it stands to reason that as long as the average Do Emperor breaks through the 6-star Do Emperor, he will surely pass the 6-star Do Emperor's life, and after passing through, the power of birth will also be born in his body. But this Xiao Yang's strength has reached the 6-star Do Emperor's strength. Late Emperor, but there is no trace of vitality in the body. This is an extremely unbelievable thing. Guanglu was on the side, secretly watching Xiao Yang and Qianzhong's fight. Don't worry, let's take a look at it first. Although Qianzhang's strength is only in the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor, I am afraid that the general powerhouse in the later stage of the 6-star Do Emperor will not give in too much. Guanglu naturally knew that Qianqiu was worried about Qianzhang's safety. Exit. Qianqiu seemed to have taken a reassurance when he heard the captain's words. What are these people doing? Xiao Yang was ready to deal with 5 people at the same time, but how could he expect that these 4 would suddenly leave? Boy, distracted from fighting, this is a dead end. The next moment, the huge crack of dozens of meters under Qianzhang's feet suddenly came to Xiao Yang. It's good to come. Xiao Yang had no time to think so much. Immediately, the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng suddenly inserted into the ground, and a terrifying flame was suddenly born from within his body, and then through his hands, the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng was directly inserted into the ground. The inserted underground turned into a hot flame wave, attacking the huge crack of thousands of feet. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying wave just touched, but a deafening voice came out, like flying sand and stone, and suddenly exploded from the ground. Happy. Come again. Although Qianzhong was bound to win the wooden sign, he was quite belligerent. The wave of the 2 attacks was not over yet. Under the cover of flying sand and stone, Xiao Yang suddenly exerted force with both hands, and directly pulled out the ancient ruler of strange fire, and a splendid flame emanated from his eyes. 7th layer breaking the 2nd foot of the sky, the waves are stacked 1,000 feet. A terrifying voice came out instantly, and then the 1,000 feet saw that there seemed to be countless bulky black giant rulers around him. Rao was like this, and Qianzhong was suddenly shocked. Because Qianzhong actually felt an unprecedented hot fluctuation from above these giant feet. The flames on this kid's body are not right. Qianzhong's first thought just came into being, and he didn't have time to think about it. He suddenly burst out with all his might, trying to intercept this terrifying attack. Boom, boom, boom. Thousands of different fire-constant ancient rulers suddenly smashed towards Qianzhong. Such a terrifying attack, even the powerhouses of the late 6-star Do Emperor must be smashed into a hornet's nest. Damn! Qianzhong formed a yellow earth wall in front of him at this time, and bursts of dazzling energy of life permeated the earth wall, but this dazzling energy of life had not had time to display the power slowly dimmed under the constant attack of Xiao Yang's strange fire and ancient ruler. Just because you want to stop my Emperor Yang's power? A voice of disdain emanated from Xiao Yang's mouth instantly. The so-called Emperor Yang is naturally the new flame that has been fused with 23 kinds of different fires in Xiao Yang's body, and the rest is the power of holy flame. Huang Quan is angry. A slight voice emanated from Xiao Yang's heart, and then the terrifying soul force went directly to the 1,000. Because of Xiao Yang's deliberate suppression, coupled with the small scope of influence, only Qianzhong felt a dizziness in his head. Under the attack of Xiao Yang's soul power and the ancient ruler of the different fire, Qianzhong finally couldn't hold on to Xiao Yang's huge continuous attack, and suddenly knelt down, and screams kept coming out of his mouth. Come out! The flames on this kid, even some elders who refine medicine in the pavilion are not so terrifying. What secrets does this kid have? Guanglu thought to himself, but he couldn't help but hesitate. Rescue. Go. 5 people surrounded and killed. Guanglu also realized that Xiao Yang's strength was unfathomable, so he didn't dare to take it lightly and said to the few people around him. As soon as the voice fell, the eyes of the 4 of them flashed a decisive look at the same time, and they entered the battlefield directly. I still haven't been able to reduce 1 person. Xiao Yang looked at the Qianzhong who was saved by Guanglu, and shook his head slightly. The unexpected soul attack just now, in addition to the 7-fold skybreaking ruler, Xiao Yang's purpose was to use the thunder method to reduce the Dawn team by 1 person, but this terrifying attack did almost seriously injure the 1,000 feet, but was saved by Guanglu. I can't see that you are hiding quite deeply. It's no wonder that Wang Chen couldn't make a single round in your hands. Guanglu pulled Qianzhong back slightly, and then the terrifying fluctuations all over his body instantly dissipated, and Xiao Yang's attack was easily deciphered. But it doesn't mean that Xiao Yang's attack is not powerful, it's just that most of the remaining Kai shadows of the 7th layer breaking sky ruler have been consumed by attacking thousands of Zhong, so it was so easily resolved by the light path. Captain, this kid is very strong. There are obvious burn marks on Qianzhong's burly body, and looking at Qianzhong's appearance, he clearly has pain. You shouldn't have been beaten like this by this kid. Qianqiu came to Qianzhong, but no one knew better than himself about his brother, let alone strength. Even if it was defense, he wouldn't be so easily beaten. Defeated. I don't know, Xiao Yang seemed to have launched an attack just now, which made me think that my mind was shocked, and then I was taken advantage of by the shadows. Qianzhong stood up, shook his head and said, I think it should be a soul attack. Anli on the side opened his mouth slightly. Soul attack. Guanglu was slightly surprised. Although there was only a little sense just now, I think I did find some fluctuations in Xiao Yang's body. It is most likely an attack from the soul power. Anli said. You are also an alchemist, and your soul power can't escape your eyesight. If this Xiao Yang used soul power, how could he escape your senses? Guanglu naturally believed in his fiancée, Anli, but he wondered. Xiao Yang used his soul power to hide from the sky. There is only one possibility. His soul power is stronger than mine. In other words, Xiao Yang is an alchemist who is more tyrannical than me. The Dark Crow also finds it incredible. He has just set foot on the Emperor rank first-grade alchemist, or is his family and his fiancée Guanglu. It took a lot of effort to achieve this. How could Xiao Yang be stronger than himself? These guys. Xiao Yang cast a helpless glance at the Dawning team, who were discussing matters, feeling that they thought this was what their home looked like. To be honest, I'm also looking forward to how much challenge the Dawning team can bring me. Xiao Yang finished speaking, the spiritual power in the body continued to gather, the core inscription of the divine movement natal life kept shaking, sending out bursts of extremely obscure power. They are slowly wrapped up here. Forget it, let's do it, naturally catch Xiao Yang. Guanglu also knew that Xiao Yang was by no means an ordinary person, but his Guanglu was by no means an ordinary person, so he could say, this time, let's see where you're going. Among the five, Qianzhong's breath was slightly weaker. Both Qianzhong and Qianqiu were in the middle stage of the 6-star Do Di. As for the other man, his name was Tan Xiaoyang. A handsome and dashing man, his strength is also in the middle stage of the 6-star Do Emperor. In addition to Guanglu's completion of the 6-star Do Emperor and the late stage of Anli's 6-star Do Emperor's strength, the strength of this Dawn team cannot be underestimated. It's finally starting. In fact, Xiao Yang was a little impatient waiting for them to wait. The few people who saw it launched an offensive, and immediately stretched their waists, dazzling flames emerge. The Dawning team and the strong Xiao Yang faced each other, and a big battle broke out in an instant. Qianzhong, you are on the left, Qianqiu is on the right, Xiaoyang, you are responsible for containment, I am the main attack, only you assist. The speed of the few people was extremely fast, and Guanglu said. The 5 members of the Dawning team were not put together because they participated in the team competition at midnight. They used to team up to hunt some monsters together and go out to practice together, so they cooperated quite well with each other. Humph! A muffled groan sounded, and immediately beside Xiao Yang, 5 fighting spirits mixed with ferocious flames suddenly roared towards the 5 people. Boom, boom, boom! The first to bear the brunt is the light path. Guanglu raised his palm, and the dazzling white life force in his hand directly smashed Xiao Yang's flame Do Qi training away. Xiao Yang was not at all surprised by this. Whoever is tantamount to an idiot talking about a dream. Broken. Only Mai's eyes on the side moved slightly, and then the huge soul power instantly emerged, attacking the other 4 flames with fighting chi. The next moment, Anli's soul power directly cracked Xiao Yang's attacks. The level of this soul power is probably just stepping into the Emperor's realm. Xiao Yang saw the realm of Anli's soul power at a glance, and naturally guessed that Anli was an alchemist. Boy, eat my palm. Xiao Yang's figure moved quickly, but Tan Xiaoyang appeared in front of Xiao Yang like a ghost, and then the corner of his mouth grinned. Terrorist attacks come to life. Great heavens, fortune palm. Xiao Yang was naturally unwilling to be outdone. He slightly flipped the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand, and immediately above the palm of his hand, the same terrifying force was born in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 attacks had just been born, and immediately a circle of substantial flame ripples erupted, spreading out everywhere. This wave, it's Xiao Yang. A few thousand meters away from Xiao Yang and the others, Mu Yingying and her group slowly appeared, and then Mu Yingying suddenly opened her eyes and said, Xiao Yang should have encountered an enemy, we must go to support him. Mu Yingying had just finished speaking, and there was a sign of going. No, we've already come here. We're here to wait for the rabbits. After getting a wooden token, we can enter the 5 Elements mountain range to hunt and kill the 5 Elements beasts. Going to rescue Xiao Yang now will only waste our time. Ling Xian on the side, slightly dissatisfied, Xiao Yang's arrogant and unreasonable appearance was in his mind. If you don't go, you can stay. Mu Yingying said softly, and then she was too lazy to talk nonsense, and ran quickly. After all, it is impossible to fly in Luoling Mountain due to mysterious restrictions. You. Ling Xian was slightly angry when she saw that Mu Yingying ignored her words, and then looked at Mu Feng and the two beside her. Are you going to? Ling Xian said in a questioning tone. We are a team, and it is impossible to leave any of them. We also really want to win the first place in this game, but I think teammates are more important than the first place, because I believe that if I were besieged by others, Xiao Yang would definitely be the first to save me. Mu Feng said slightly. Are you going to save him? Do you know who besieged him? That's the Dawning team. There are 6-star Do-D perfectionists leading the team. You're just going to die in vain, Ling Xian said with some red eyes. Since it's a competition, is it wrong to want to be first? You are not suitable for our team, let alone the game. You'd better go back to the underground hall and be your little princess. Mu Feng just ran to chase after Mu Yingying, and the last green flute said slightly. After speaking, the green flute also left Ling Xian and ran towards Xiao Yang. Dad, what is friendship? Friendship is when others will cut their teeth for your safety. Then what is love? Love, I'm willing to give up the whole world for you. Ling Xian's pupils were slightly moist, and some words from her father kept echoing in her mind, as if there was something in the heart of this little princess loose. This video will end here.